Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Blacklogic. As you can tell, I am back. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. I've been to 3 countries in over a month, all Asian countries. I'm pretty sure it's just a climate change. I don't believe that I've contracted anything, but for that reason, I might have tissue in my nose. So I just want to let you guys know that I'm here. I'm fine and well, just fighting a bug here or there. But I'm going to stay off camera for this particular video because I have tissue right here that will be going inside of my nose. Probably TMI, right? But nonetheless, you know when you get here in Blacklogic, I'm down to earth, I'm real, and I'm gonna give you the information and news very neutrally. But anytime I have my own bias and or conjecture, I will let you know that as well. So excuse me as I'm fighting a bug there. You may hear me go off mute or sneeze here and there, but bear with me. I'm human. Now, first, I want to cover that our neighbors to the north, Canada, as we know them, in their upcoming election is turning into what seems to be a referendum on President Donald Trump's policies because liberal leader Mark Carney is gaining momentum by positioning himself as a bulwark against Trump's aggressive trade tactics and nationalist rhetoric. So again, he's getting Canadians on board against being anti-Trump, so to speak. And he's really sending this very powerful message of trying to compete with the United States of America because of a lot of the commodities, the industries that they have a certain percentage of the total global, the global makeup of, because we allow them to have that. Again, America can give our business to any other country. And right, we can give our country power by essentially empowering other countries. I just came back from Vietnam. And of course, I'm gonna put together a vacation video. All my videos I edit myself. So it takes me more time to do vacation videos because vacation blogging or vlogging is kind of different than straight up news. So again, you should be receiving that video here in the coming week and a half, 2 weeks tops, because I like to put a lot more graphics in it so it can be more intuitive, interactive with you guys. And for you guys to see countries as I see them. Now and again, I have my pros and cons of the countries I visited over the course of time. And if you ever new to Blacklogic, you can watch a lot of my vacation videos. And also, if you're new to Blacklogic, hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell so you are notified every time I release a video or go live. So we can have other countries to create our cars, to get fresh water from. There's a lot of things that we can do. But that is what Canada's, soon to be new prime minister is heading off. Now, meanwhile, the conservative leader, Pierre Poilievre, is facing criticism for his perceived alignment with Trump's ideology. It's a political drama that's reshaping Canada's national identity. And what's important here is Donald Trump's rating has been declining ever since January. And we're going to touch on that as well. But I just wanted to cover that to give you some contrast when it comes to this particular story and others that soon to be like it. And as I was stating, President Trump's return to office has been anything but quiet. In his first 100 days, he's issued a flurry, an absolute barrage of executive order aggressively reconstructing federal agencies and reigniting trade wars with key allies. His America First agenda, which I believe that most Americans will be on board, now is causing ripples both domestically and have been internationally, which is challenging longstanding alliances and economic partnerships. Now, I want you guys just to hear a piece of this clip here. As you can tell from the graphic, it states, in February, it was at 53%. And now that we're at the end of May, he is at 45%. So it's consistently dropping over time. And does President Trump really care if he believes what he's doing is going to eventually help America and those numbers can turn around just as well as they're declining? Possibly so, because again, even though he has hinted that he could be interested in a third term, which is constitutional illegally, he might have to be removed from office as this is a big thing. But he has some stark conservative, aka MAGA crowd, Steve Bannon and other people trying to find loopholes in the Constitution. At one point in time, Constitution, Constitution, Constitution. The Constitution is a solid document. This is the laws of the land. This is the rule, the rule of the land. You know, the founding fathers came up with this, so there's no way around it. But now that they have a person in place that they like, now they want to find loopholes and gray areas in the Constitution. Again, both sides of the argument, white supremacy. But I want you guys to hear just a little bit of this. Bear with me. Let's see if we can get this going.
And although 6 in 10 Americans say he is doing what he promised during the campaign, there is some growing concern about some of the policies he's pursuing to fulfill those promises. For more, we're joined now by CBS News Executive Director of Elections and...
We don't really need to hear. From the outside looking in, from the Trump administration and the things that he ran on, Trump is doing absolutely what he promised the American people. Where lies the problem? See, the problem lies that he's doing it not in a way that people actually thought he would go about doing it. They thought that he would be more political. I hope they didn't believe that. They thought that he would follow the rule of law. Convicted felon, I hope they didn't think that. He's getting this done by any means necessary. Any loophole, any gray area, any undermining. He's reaching back until the 1800s to get what he stated to be accomplished. Now, am I against that? The only thing that I think that I am against when it comes to presidents and what they promise to their constituents, the voting base, their party, the country that they're in place for, is the rule of law. There's no bend, there's no break when it comes to the Constitution, when it comes to federal laws. That is my hard stance on what's going on right now. Now, the methods in which he does it and a lot of the rhetoric that surrounds it and how the law and the Constitution seems to sway and bend and be more pliable than ever before because he's in office. I'm now seeing a lot more conservatives come out and speak against some things that President Trump has done. I've been hearing rhetoric about federal judges now trying to stop certain actions that the Trump administration is trying to take when it comes to deportation. So again, there's a lot of people, mostly on the left, but there are some on the right. They're speaking up constitutionally by the way of federal laws, policy, and legislation. So again, I'll keep you guys abreast and updated on that as well. Now, turning to Europe, Iceland, a NATO member without a standing army. We've been talking about Iceland for quite some time, ever since Trump had become in office. But Iceland doesn't have a standing army. They mostly rely on Denmark for their defense, but Denmark hasn't defended anything because no one has really been attacking Iceland. Even though Russian submarines, we've had reports that Russian submarines have conducted training through the Isles around the large island, but without any provocation or any incident. So I guess there, wasn't a problem. Now, a lot of this has been evaluating is defense posture among growing tensions between the U.S. and Europe, and the island nation is strategically located is now considering bolstering its defense capability to address emergency concerns. And now what you're seeing here is not Icelandic soldiers. What you see here is not Denmark soldiers, but this picture is from a 22 clip of U.S. Marines doing a military exercise in Western Iceland. You would think that they will put up a picture of Denmark conducting exercises, but not even Denmark goes there to train. Leave it up to America to be on every terrain and every climate and every landmass in the entire world and train and be ready to fight the enemies, both domestically and internationally, for the safety and security of these United States of America. That's wild, though. I wonder why they don't do that. Now, foreign companies operating in China are caught in the crossfire of the escalating US-China trade war, and they're facing hefty tariffs, both with importing components into China, the different parts and pieces of a vehicle, and exporting finished goods to the US. And this is acting as a double taxation. It's forcing many to reconsider their manufacturing supply chain strategy. And all this is to force American companies like Tesla, Elon, where you at? Elon Musk, can the real Elon Musk please stand up? Because they got Elon Musk front and center to bring American companies back to America. And granted, a lot of these American companies, foreign companies, they tend to have manufacturing in the countries that they want to sell their products to. Right, the shipper is created right in that country, so the shipping cost is low because there's really nowhere to ship. They are hiring the locals. Okay, they may have a couple of maybe 50 to 100 people from the headquarters to spawn up that business, to get people trained up, and then they slowly start to hire managerial, executive people for that particular department overseas. But again, the way that Donald Trump is going about this is bringing a lot of these large companies that we have that's operating overseas and ship vehicles, products, services. That way we can benefit from an increased job market. We keep a lot of innovation to ourselves. We again, when we outsource to China, India, Vietnam, Bangladesh, a lot of these countries are getting a foot up because they see the innovations of Americans and the people that come to America and innovate. Whether it be the infrastructure of how to build a car, now they can start building a car, which helps them to compete in the car market. Do not forget that the first cars were built in America. The first cars were built in America. Now, in some regards, especially when it comes to electric vehicles, China has surpassed American electric EV makers when it comes to technology. And I'm not necessarily talking about the build. Now, the YouTuber, excuse me, the YouTuber I Show Speed has been all over China, going to different EV makers. I know that he went to BYD, Build Your Dream. That's what it's short for, in China. And I think he purchased their supercar that can lean left and right. You can rock it to music. You can jump. I've even seen specials where the car jumps. So to me, that kind of builds on the build quality as well. I wonder what shocks they're using, hydraulics they're using, air cushioning. What's the longevity of that? What's the maintenance looks like? But that infrastructure is built up in China. And we will not allow Chinese cars in America. I want you guys to think about this. I just bought a griddle today, and it was made in China, and it was stainless steel, good quality as far as I can tell. And the people always talking about Chinese cheap crap. Okay, I'm an American through and through, but let's just be 100% authentic. Let's be 100% real. Majority of the things that we have in our homes, majority of the things are made in China. Some of them are great quality because, again, the specs that the American business owners send to China, they're going to build it to that spec. So when you guys are receiving cheap things from an American company, it's because of the specs that they sent to China. Now, granted, there's some things that you can buy authentically from China that's from a Chinese, manufacturer. That can be very cheap, or it can be good quality. So when we look at certain things, I believe these cups right here are made in China. I don't really recall these Kirkland cups. I don't know. And no, I'm not drinking. This is actually water. I know what you guys think. You think a red cup people drink. I'm actually just drinking water. But nonetheless, this is where we are when it comes to manufacturing. Why won't they let Chinese vehicles over here? Because again, there was a point in time where, Dodge and Chrysler, Lincoln and Buick, we had all these American car companies that was actually manufacturing and made in America. Now we have foreign American cars. What am I referring to? There's only two American car makers. Prove me wrong. You have Ford and you have GMC. That's it. That's all you have. You have two when it comes to gasoline cars. Let me take one step back. When it comes to gasoline cars, because some people will point out Rivian, Tesla, etc. When it comes to gasoline cars, we are dying. The only two companies that remain is GM and Ford. And Ford, they have a corner on the market when it comes to pickup trucks, F-150, F-250, F-350, so on and so forth. But if they allow China to start exporting and importing their EV cars inside of America for the price that they're selling them for, I'm telling you right now that Tesla will probably be bankrupt in 5 years. I'm not saying Tesla's not making great cars. I know people love Tesla's ingenuity. They love their software. But for many times, people have been complaining about Tesla's build, big gaps in the doors, quality, the luxury or the lack of luxury. So when we look at all of these different components, you bring in a BYD, you bring in a Nero, you bring in an Xpeng. I'm naming these are a lot of the Chinese EV makers. If you bring, let's just say, 3 Chinese EV makers that have been doing absolutely well around the world, like I said it, I just came from Vietnam and Thailand. And prior to that, it was Japan. Let me tell you something. I've seen Chinese vehicles in Vietnam. I've seen them in Thailand. They look beautiful. I don't know how good they run. I was actually in a Grab also. And for you guys to understand, a Grab is just another way of saying Uber. They use an app called Grab. We use Uber. And buddies of mine, we was in a Grab and was like, this is a nice vehicle. It was an electric vehicle and it was BYD. So I kind of know it firsthand. It was my first time experiencing it. Very smooth ride. Had no issues in my opinion. But again, I just, for the amount of money that Americans are paying for electric vehicles and a lot of the SUVs and sports cars and sedans that I've seen, that a lot of these large EV car makers in China have been producing for almost half the price, they would totally tank Tesla. Tesla would be non-existent. I think maybe Rivian, maybe Lucid would survive. Lucid probably survive because Lucid, full size sedans, luxury, great technology, a lot of horsepower. But for the price point, all day, BYD will kill a lot of the American electric vehicles. And I'm just stating the truth as I see it. When it comes to the price point, when it comes to the technology, and the quality is subjective. Okay, the quality is subjective for what people like, what people don't like. But as far as the price, that's not subjective. Well, you get what you pay for. Yeah, we've been paying for a lot of Chinese things throughout the years, but we use that argument when it suits us the best. Okay, so that's the kind of way that I'm looking at when it comes to that particular story. Now, President Putin, he continues to outmaneuver Western leaders, including President Trump. And he's doing it through very calculated diplomacy and strategic energy deals. Putin is expanding Russia's influence by exploiting divisions within NATO and the EU. And in some regarding this as a masterclass in geopolitical chess. And what I get from this is that Putin is just calling bluffs and he's lying. He's calling people bluff of what they're going to do and what they're not going to do, and he's just lying. Oh yeah, we'll sign a ceasefire with Ukraine if President Zelensky steps down and the land that we took from the Ukrainians, they can't get it back. Well, they know that most world leaders are not going to fall for that. They're not going to even sign off on that. So again, these are all just chess moves. And who knows how many steps ahead is Putin playing? Is he playing 3 steps ahead, 5 steps ahead? The only thing I know is that the world now knows that Putin is winning. Whatever that may be, he's winning the war in Ukraine. He's winning the war on controlling a lot of the energy going to the EU. He's controlling the footprint of Russia by expanding into Ukraine. He's winning on all accords. Now, this may come really close to a lot of people with Blue Shield because in a very, very significant cybersecurity lapse, Blue Shield of California inadvertently, I don't know how you do this, shared the personal health information of 4.7 million patients with Google Ads. And this particular breach, which included sensitive data like Medicaid claim dates and insurance details, what this raises is a lot of questions about data privacy and corporate accountability. Because how did Google Ads get patient information, dates, and they really didn't state if they got date of birth, social security card, first, middle, last name, etc., tax ID numbers. Who knows the amount of information that was leaked? Just so Google can buy information from these people that people allow, because a lot of us, they give us these long sheets of paper. I wish I had something here to show you guys, but they just, they give you these pieces of paper. Let me show you this very quickly. They give you pieces of paper first and foremost where it's really small, right? It's really small and it's hard for you to read it. You see how that's hard for you to read it? It's really small like that. That's crazy, right? They show you that, which is very difficult for you to read it. And so most of us just sign it because, like, okay, I'm just signing up for an account. I just need some health insurance. But in that very small print that I show you guys, that you are authorizing for your health insurance company to give non-HIPAA information to advertise to you. And somebody just probably checked the wrong box, said, instead of saying HIPAA information, non-HIPAA information. And 4.7 million people, I always like to round up. I'm a roundup guy when it benefits me. 5 million people. 5 million people, personal information is on the internet, according to this report by Fox News. That's crazy. You would think in this day and age that they would have some sort of AI cybersecurity wall, VPN, all sorts of protections so people's information is not released inadvertently and haphazardly, that hackers, black hat hackers, can use to extort people, insurance company, and in a lot of regards, the government. You would think in 2025, data security, cybersecurity, we have AI, we have quantum computing, we have all these advanced technologies, and we're still leaking personal information. I'm looking for people to move from Blue Shield. It wouldn't surprise me if people move from Blue Shield to other secure health insurance companies. Now, the only reason why I can tell people may be backed into a corner if their employer has a contract with Blue Shield and they can't, derive from it. That's the only thing that, essentially has me, up in a terror about it. Now, President Trump's tariff policies are facing legal challenges from multiple states and their businesses. Critics argue that the tariffs imposed without congressional approval, that they are unconstitutional and economically damaging. The lawsuits aim to halt what they describe as an overreach of executive power. Conjecture. Because again, find me the law, find me the legislation that state that what he's doing is against or violating the Constitution or violating federal legislation or policies or rules or laws or something. If you're not showing the American people how he's violating that, even if you don't like what he's doing, I want you guys to really think about that. If Donald Trump is not breaking the law with a lot of these tariffs, then you can be against what he's doing via terrorism, but are you against him as using his power as the president? Because I'm not. If he's using his power as a president, so be it. This is what you guys voted for. They're just mad that he is the only president that I've done research on, that I've been alive for, that has used executive powers like spades. You guys know how to play spades? The book of spades. I mean, the name of the game is spades, but I'm talking about the book of spades. You know, you got the ace, king, queen, jack, so on and so forth. Everybody else is playing with hearts, diamonds, and clubs. And we know that the suit that is the most powerful when you're playing spades is spades. That's why you call it spades. And Trump is spade tight. He's spade tight. That's all he has is spades. That's how he's using his executive power. Hopefully that helps somebody to understand. Now, a federal judge in Texas has temporarily blocked the deportation of immigrants under the 1798 Aliens Enemies Act. And this is what I was talking about. He's going all the way back to the early 1800s, late 1700s, in order to deport a lot of illegal immigrants that are inside the country. Now, this particular law is rarely used in modern times. The ruling highlights the legal complexities and human rights concern surrounding the Trump administration's aggressive immigration enforcement strategies. But the one thing they didn't say is that this law that's on the book is no longer valid, that it has expired. Well, laws, legislations, and policy in America, they just go on forever until somebody makes a new one that overrides the last one, or someone just totally dismantle that bill altogether. But again, there's all these laws, acts, and legislations on the books, and Trump's administrative legal team is going to find any and everything to deport illegal immigrants from this country, as well as some legal residents that they disagree with, as some people who are on visas that they disagree with. But again, these are the reports that I've been reporting on you guys for the past month or so. So again, I'm happy that I'm back. I am absolutely tired of traveling, as my wife knows, nonetheless. But I do, at the end of every video, I like to show you guys something intriguing, funny, or just, you know, that sparks your interest. And this is what I'm coming up with here. Hopefully you guys enjoy this, because I totally didn't. Okay, I totally did not enjoy this, none whatsoever.
This is the famous chewing gum wall in America. People come here to stick their chewing gum.
Now, yes, she's, some people will say that she's pretty, and I will say that she's absolutely disgusting. This whole wall is from people all around the world that have chewed gum just to stick it on the wall. Some people will stick it on the wall, whatever. Then you have people like her that's going up to this wall and licking the wall. And this young lady, if she doesn't have a boyfriend or a husband, or the same, will be in a relationship with somebody, marry somebody, and kiss them with those same lips and tongue that she did with all these pieces of gum from people around the world. That's nasty.
Chewing gum wall in America. People come here to stick their chewing gum on the wall alongside others. This trend began in 1923 when two boys stuck their gum on the wall for fun. As more people saw them, they started doing the same. Eventually, it became a popular trend and has now turned into a unique tradition.